Hello again, and welcome back to the AI-MCP Agent Use Case Series. I'm George Snyder, one of the developers of the platform. Today we're building a small team of agents that work together on a job that quietly runs every retail and warehouse operation, checking stock against demand and getting a purchase order drafted before you run out, without a buyer having to babysit a spreadsheet all day. The first member of the team is the demand forecasting agent. Its job is to decide whether a product needs reordering and how much. Notice it's connected to your inventory system over MCP, the open standard for giving an agent real tools. You can see the tools it uses. Check the stock, how much is on hand versus the reorder point, and run a demand forecast for that item. It puts those two together and makes a clear recommendation. How many units to order, backed by the actual numbers. So it's not a guess. It's grounded in your real stock and real demand. Here's the second member of the team, the purchase order drafter. And this one comes with a built-in control. Once the forecasting agent has made its recommendation, this specialist drafts the actual purchase order. Its instructions are strict. Always use the tool. Never invent a PO number. It shares the same inventory system and uses the draft order tool to create a real numbered draft PO. And crucially, it has a review policy. If the recommended quantity is unusually large, it flags the order for a buyer to check first. Otherwise, it marks it safe to auto-approve. One agent decides what to order. The other drafts it with a guardrail. Now let's see how they work as a team. This is the multi-agent flow designer. Read left to right. The flow starts, hands the reorder check to the forecasting agent, which decides whether and how much to order, and then passes that to the PO drafter, which writes the purchase order and finishes. Each box is one of the agents we just looked at. And notice the building blocks in the palette. You can branch on a condition or fan work out and back, so a procurement workflow can be as simple or as sophisticated as your operation requires, all without writing code. The magic is in the handoff. When we click the forecasting agent, we can see it produces a structured output. Its recommendation with the SKU, the stock on hand, the reorder point, the forecast, and the quantity to order. And when we click the PO drafter, it declares that same recommendation as its input. That's the contract between them. The forecasting agent decides what's needed and packages it up, and the drafter receives exactly that, with nothing lost in translation. The platform passes it from one specialist to the next automatically. Let's run the whole team on a real reorder check. We ask it to check SKU widget A and draft a purchase order if needed. Watch the flow work. The forecasting agent calls its tools, pulls the on-hand stock and the reorder point, runs the demand forecast, and recommends exactly how many units to order. Then it hands off, and the PO drafter uses its tool to create a real numbered draft purchase order and applies its review policy, flagging it for a buyer or marking it auto-approvable. Each agent's real response streams in order, and the chat history shows the exact cost of the whole run, a reorder decision and a drafted PO in seconds. With the team tested, it's time to put it to work. Saving the flow publishes it with a single agent code, and the whole two-agent team can be delivered wherever your buyers work. The first way is an embeddable chat window on an internal purchasing dashboard. A buyer just asks to run the check on any item, and behind that one chat box, both agents spring into action. The forecasting agent decides what's needed, the PO drafter writes the purchase order with its review guardrail, and the buyer gets a real numbered draft PO right there in the browser, no login and nothing to install. Purchasing teams also have buyers fielding requests across the business, so the second way is Chat Assist, our live agent co-pilot. Here, an inventory buyer gets a message asking to run a reorder check. When the request comes in, the buyer hands it to the assistant, which runs this very same two-agent team, forecasting the demand and drafting the purchase order, tools and all, and prepares the reply. The buyer reviews it, confirms the flagged items, and sends it. The agents do the number crunching and the drafting. The human keeps final sign-off on the spend. And there's a third way to reach this workflow: the phone. Because these are AI-MCP agents, the same forecast and purchasing team can connect to a standards-based SIP telephony provider, so a buyer could call in and run a reorder check by voice and have a purchase order drafted. It's all managed here in telephony setup: phone numbers, call history, and diagnostics. One team, reachable across the web, live chat, and a phone line. And that's an inventory reorder team. Two specialized agents, one to forecast demand and decide what to order, one to draft the purchase order with a buyer review guardrail, each with the precise tools it needs over MCP, passing a clean, structured handoff between them and delivered as a self-service dashboard chat or a live agent co-pilot, all designed on one canvas without a line of code. This is where multi-agent really shines: a routine, high-volume job broken into focused steps, done reliably with a human in the loop on the big orders. Thanks for watching. I'm George Snyder, and I'll see you at the next AI-MCP multi-agent deep dive.